Alright, so we got some good news surrounding Kenny Pickett, as well as more positive leadership vibes with Jalen Hurts. Plus, even after losing Jason Kelce, why does one analyst rank the Eagles as the second best O-line in the league? And what role could this rookie play in the grand scheme of things? Meanwhile, there's a few surprising cut candidates, including one unexpected rookie. So let's talk about if that makes sense and how Philly can use its surplus to land a potential deal for a backup receiver. But first, let's run it. What's up, guys? Hey, do me a favor, hit that like button, and then let's start with a happy belated birthday to Keely Ringo, with the Philly dog turning 22 on Thursday. I mean, it's honestly crazy that Ringo's got an entire year under his belt and is still one of the youngest dudes on the roster. Like, the Eagles' corner is only a few years away from having been able to play on the International Federation of American Football.
I don't even know what that is!
Okay, yeah, I knew very little about this whole thing too. But thanks to my guy Anthony DeBona, he was able to shed some light on the subject after Japan beat the US 41-20 at the International World Championships on Wednesday. Yes, you heard that correctly and are seeing it correctly, American football, but just stick with me. I mean, Japan built a commanding 20-point lead early into the second quarter behind an impressive ground game. And although the red, white, and blue were able to eventually cut it to a 2-possession game with 11 minutes left, it was ultimately too little, too late. Of course, to be expected, the Twitter comments were wild, with things like, "This is more embarrassing than Pearl Harbor," and overreactions of, "I hope none of these fellas ever step foot on US soil again," or "Did we send Bishop Sycamore as the US team?"
Son, people can see you.
41-20 is pretty bad, although to be fair, and you've probably figured this out at this point, there's significant restrictions in place to make sure the US doesn't have a dominant dream team. However, as Anthony pointed out, even with the limitations, the USA has won 3 consecutive titles in the event, because it's not like just nobody's playing in it. For example, some of the biggest stars to don the stars and stripes are Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, Jaguars quarterback Mac Jones, as well as current New Orleans Saints teammates in Tyrann Mathieu and pass rusher Chase Young. And there's even a Philly connection since Eagles QB2 Kenny Pickett played back then as well. So I don't know, maybe the talent's not as good or things are just getting weird. I mean, the US did upset Pakistan in cricket recently, so who knows what's going on. But sorry, we got way off on a tangent. Getting back to Kenny Pickett, the backup quarterback is actually in the news thanks to his longtime quarterback coach Tony Rasciapi. I'm going to call him TR because I have no clue how to pronounce his last name. But basically, TR sat down with NJ Media to dispute the previous claims about Kenny being a poor teammate and a diva or not a leader, saying those narratives were 100% BS, and that he would put Pickett's leadership ability against anybody out there, echoing that the 26-year-old has all the gifts, physical, mental, he's tough, and he's smart. Which, hearing that is great, but no, I'm not saying he's overtaking Jalen anytime soon, despite, yes, some of the rumors that got out there about a month ago about that. But who doesn't like having a capable backup quarterback? And a guy who's already shown the willingness to put in extra time with some of the backups like wide receiver Joseph Ngata and tight end EJ Jenkins. Plus, the whole idea of this thing is that hopefully he never plays. Yet if he does have to come in and play a few games, he'll certainly be better than Marcus Mariota was last season. Also, it's great to hear and see that Pickett's been a good teammate so far. Like, it was kind of easy to get the feel of the move to Philly was kind of a restart for him. However, make no mistake, Jalen Hurts is still QB1 and has that quiet strength about him.
I think he like to do a lot of stuff behind closed doors because he want them to know that it's coming from a genuine place, not just for the cameras. And I think everybody go about their stuff in different ways. And I'm okay with that because I know what I'm getting with him. I've connected with him even more on a way deeper level, knowing that he's just allowing people to just talk how they gonna talk. But I know for sure that he's been intentional on making sure that he build that connection. He's understanding that piece. I seen him with the rookies down there, in Florida doing this thing, with them, coaching them up, getting them ready. So when in training camp, when it gets hard, and he know what they could do already because they want to show off and show what they do when they down there in Florida with him. I think he can always resort back and be like, "Hey, man, you showed me you could do that already. Come on, what you doing? Let's do it." Like, building their confidence as rookies and knowing that a guy like Jalen Hurts, who you striving to get to, and like as far as like the level of play, somebody that on me, man, I don't want to let him down because I spent that time with him, and so I'm happy for Jay because I think he do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that nobody knows about, which is good because you shouldn't, because that's what it is. But these quarterbacks that do that, that's what's up. Just like me, I'm a more vocal leader. Yeah. I'm more comfortable in that role. But some guys, they like to do it from behind. They don't want the rah-rah. They don't do all the rah-rah. We got a lot of that on the team, so he might have feel like he ain't got to do all that. He just got to go out there and get the ball to where he got to go, and then you might see him smiling and doing all that cool stuff. But work is to be done, and I know that's his mindset. Work got to get done first, and then we can play. And have some fun when I'm partying. You will see him popping that bottle when he get that Super Bowl. I definitely know he gonna have a smile, big smile then.
We're all going to be smiling at that point. By the way, just another reminder that we're going to be giving away a signed Kelly Green BG jersey on July 10th during our live stream to one lucky subscriber. So help me help you and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Oh, on the topic of Kelly Green jerseys, the Eagles officially announced the dates of the games they'll be wearing the iconic look. On a Sunday Night Football matchup in Week 9 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars and in Week 17 versus Dallas. And it's pretty good news considering how great they look, plus the fact that we're undefeated wearing them. Now, getting back to Jalen's leadership, Lane Johnson agrees, saying Hurts has taken the next step of becoming a more vocal leader, and you can really see that in the locker room. Again, just another reminder that all the players seem to be noticing despite some media narratives pushing a different agenda. Because Lane says the guys are listening to Jalen, and he's had a big offseason of making a more concerted effort of bonding with the guys, building the morale and chemistry, and going out of his way to connect. Which case in point to that is seeing QB1 down in Florida working with new acquisition and wide receiver 3 favorite Paris Campbell, as well as rookies Johnny Wilson and Will Shipley along with Saquon Barkley. But honestly, seeing the rooks get extra work has me especially really looking forward to what Johnny Wilson's potential impact will be. And sure, maybe not a lot, but the fact that he could be used as a potential red zone threat is about the perfect scenario. FYI, just for the record, Johnny Wilson will be the second tallest wide receiver in league history at 6'7". Of course, yeah, we all realize it's still going to come down to what guys like AJ, Smitty, Saquon, and Goddard do. But to have that depth is just another positive, and like I said, the chemistry is real, something the 49ers don't seem to have much of. With wide receiver Brandon Ayuk at odds with the squad, although who knows, apparently a deal's coming soon. Yet Jimmy Kempski made sure to rub salt in the wound by releasing his Oh, the Lead You'll Blow children's book, as an affectionate tribute to the 49ers losing 3 Super Bowls, with an excerpt going something like this. But Shanahan and the coaches were revealed to be fools when the players didn't know the overtime rules. In the end, it would be Kyle's personal hell, 3 10-point leads, 3 Super Bowl L's. First off, let me say bravo to Jimmy on this one, and then also while you're probably sending this to your Winers friends, they could probably use this next part. Is anything getting in the way of your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Heck, we can go ahead and throw Dallas in there too, since it's an easy answer for them as well. But seriously though, BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video, can help connect you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. And I get it, starting therapy can be hard. Plus, the right therapist may not be in your area, and some people find the face-to-face interaction of therapy uncomfortable. Yet with BetterHelp, you can have your therapy sessions as a phone call, video chat, or even text message if you prefer that option. Literally, whatever's the most comfortable version of therapy to you. BetterHelp can match you to one of over 30,000 therapists in their network, which gives you access to a wider range of expertise than may be available in your area. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you'll get matched with a therapist in most cases within 48 hours or less, where you'll be able to schedule therapy sessions at a time that's convenient for you. And if the therapist you first match with doesn't feel like the right fit, which can definitely be common when first starting therapy, you can easily switch to a therapist within your network at no additional cost without having to stress about it or anything like that. Come on, people spend hours in the gym every week, so why not give your mind the same kind of attention? There's a reason why over 4 million people have used BetterHelp to start living a happier, healthier life. So if you think you might benefit from therapy, consider BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/thephillyspecial. Not only does clicking that link help support the channel, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. You know, the way Philly runs its organization is just a blessing, because they're no doubt held to a high standard, which is why Brandon Thorne ranked the Eagles as the second best O-line in the NFL, saying even though the Birds lost future Hall of Fame center Jason Kelce to retirement, they have a solid plan to replace him in Cam Jurgens. Since like we all know, Kelce vouched for beef jerky in the draft process to replace him as a backup. Plus, the trio of Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, and Pave the Lane is arguably the best in the league. However, the reason they're not first for Thorne is because of his uncertainty for the right guard spot. You know, the battle between Tyler Mean Steen and Mekhi the Mountain Becton. Yet, come on, we all trust Jeff Stoutland to find a formula that works as the O-line coach, which is still why Thorne ultimately went with the Eagles at the number 2 spot. For those curious, he had the Detroit Lions at number 1 as the only elite category O-line. Anyway, I take it as a very optimistic grading because I still believe in them. Although even Lane Johnson said recently that understandably Jason Kelce's departure created a void of aura and presence within the locker room. And yeah, I mean, Sexy Batman's a living legend. Speaking of which, Jason held his 4th annual beach bash in Seattle City, this time donning an Eagles luchador mask and a crop top jersey as he bartended to raise money for the Eagles Autism Foundation. Not gonna lie, but it's hard to not have a smile on your face seeing the impact this event has on the community.
Just helping the Eagles Autism Challenge and just making sure that we raising money. And, you know, if my presence being here, getting people to donate and doing it, you know, from their heart, you know, I think that, you know, it's something that I'm dedicated to give my time and to support Kelce as always and to have a good time.
I love preparing for the event, but my absolute favorite is when event day comes because it's just a lot of tiny fires you got to put it out. You have to sort of be on your toes, and it's a really good time. It's also just so awesome to see all of the people come together. It's such an amazing cause, and so many people are impacted. So many people have a personal connection, and so to be able to see how people come together to cheer on the Birds and also cheer on the autism autism community is so, like, it feels so good in your heart.
Seriously, how can't you love seeing current and former Eagles get together for a great cause? Heck, even the man himself, Big Dom, was in attendance for the event. Also, it sounds like people were lining up as early as 4:30 a.m. to get a glimpse of the bird, so kudos to those of you that showed out. Of course, there was also the $50,000 New Heights Beer Bowl to raise money as well, and the turnout was just insane. By the way, talking about events though, Devontae Smith's celebrity softball game is this Saturday and we'll be there. So I'd love to see as many of y'all as possible. Let me know in the comments if you're going. Alright, back to the O-line. There's one player in Trevor Keegan who'd probably fare pretty well at the Beer Bowl. However, Bleeding Green Nation listed 6 other things you may not know about the rookie from Michigan. For starters, Keegan was a 4-star recruit at Michigan and the #1 player in Illinois for the class of 2019, starting 37 games and becoming a vital part of the Michigan offense. Now, as for his strengths, Keegan shows really high football IQ, great communication, and is technically sound. He also plays with a tenacity that not most have, which makes him just about the perfect fit for Philly. Yet on the flip side, his weaknesses are that he could really afford to improve his quickness and footwork, as he's not someone who could be expected to pull or be a consistent lead blocker due to his average speed at best. And you know, that may be true, however, I'll say it again, the fact that Stout handpicked this guy as a long-term potential and with his ability is definitely special, which is similar to what A.J. Brown said about Isaiah Rodgers, except, well, a much more immediate impact.
For a guy that has not played football for a year and coming back, it looks like he's been playing nonstop. Honestly, I'm gonna give praise to him, give him his flowers. You can tell he loves football. You know, he's happy to be back. You can tell he's jumping all over the field. You know, he just literally just told me in walkthrough he's gonna have 2 picks today, and I told him not against me, but go get him though. You know, but he's happy, man. He's happy to be back. You know, he's flying around. You know, and he's going to do special stuff for us this year.
You already know I've been echoing that for quite a while, but for AJ to come out and say that back at OTAs is certainly something worthwhile. And yeah, that competition is going to be fascinating to see who's starting next to Slay. After all, there's legitimately 3 potential guys in Zay, Ringo, and rookie Quinyon Mitchell. Yet let's get this straight, Zay is making the roster, although I appreciate his humility when he came on the live stream and said that his first and immediate goal is just to make the squad. However, there's a couple other guys actually on the bubble of not making the roster, or at least according to Brandon Lee Gouton's takeaways from back at OTAs, saying rookie Ainias Smith might not make the team if he struggles in training camp like he did at minicamp. Therefore, he might be someone the Eagles want to stash away on IR, but for now, he's on the bubble of making the 53-man roster projection, which for those counting was 6 wide receivers that Brandon had making the roster, saying Britton Covey's too good of a punt returner to not keep on the roster, and he provides depth in the slot. Like, I get the thought, and either way it's going to be a very difficult decision, but there's no way in my mind that the Eagles don't keep Ainias Smith. Alright, yeah, if he had a terrible camp, but even then it'd be really difficult. Honestly, I think it was just Smith slowly returning from the fractured shin and then transitioning into his new role, so I'm not really worried about him. Just like I'm not worried about defensive tackle Gabe Hall making the team. However, a couple different reporters aren't feeling as good about his chances to make the roster. Yet Anthony DeBona is, saying in a recent mailbag, given Philadelphia's lack of depth at defensive tackle, Hall will surely make a strong case to stick around. Plus, him landing number 96 as his jersey number is a great haul for an undrafted free agent as well.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Look, that's all I'm asking for, really. Although there's another haul that might be in jeopardy, with Bleeding Green Nation leaving Tyler Hall and Eli Ricks off their final 53-man prediction in favor of Josh Jobe. I mean, I don't know that I buy Jobe ahead of Hall, but it is a fair point that the Eagles do like his special teams presence. At the same time, let's remember Andrew DeCecco made a specific point to mention Tyler Hall wasn't being talked enough about at OTAs, and was somewhat being slept on, especially with his performance and the amount of reps he was getting at first-team nickel when Avonte Maddox was moved to safety. So personally, I'd argue that both Halls make it, but not as much the same for Eli Ricks, as Pick 6 Ricks unfortunately didn't look too great at minicamp based on reports a few weeks ago. Remember, he got 4th-string reps and apparently didn't fare well in those situations. But maybe a trade scenario with the Texans for him and or James Bradberry in exchange for John Metchie is a possibility, since, you know, both teams have a surplus at areas that both teams could really benefit from. Although it's a fair point to be made about Robert Woods' contract with the Texans potentially leaving him as the odd man out and could even end up getting cut, which honestly I wouldn't mind for some depth, although Metchie would definitely be my preference. I don't know, what do y'all think? Is there a better trade option if you were going to try and swap a team with one of Philly's corners? Anyway, having gone over all of this, who's your one surprising cut candidate and then also one surprising keep candidate after we've gone post-OTAs now? Also, do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't already, and then make sure to come and hang out in the live stream. Until next time, this has been the Philly Special.